Australia. Good for them. Good for you, Australia. Here's to you.
All right, you ready?
Aye.
Good evening. Welcome to Sick and Wrong, the world source for antisocial commentary. I'm one of your hosts, D7.
And I am the other host, Kate Rambo. Hello.
Okay, Rambo, what are your plans for the Super Bowl?
Well, considering I'm British and that the Super Bowl doesn't exist here, I will be sleeping or not caring about the Super Bowl.
Are you going to be making yourself your world famous nachos?
Oh, do you know what? I've not had nachos in such a long time, but now you've said it, guess what? I'm just going to be thinking about this whole fucking episode. I actually gave up crisps this week, so that was a particularly cruel jibe that you just gave at me.
Oh, you should give up crisp right before the Super Bowl. That's like I don't know, it's a staple.
I've just realized this week that I've not only cut out crisps, I've also cut out beer. And as of next week, I'm cutting out refined sugar. Like, what's wrong with me? Why am I doing this to
You
myself?
cannot go to a Super Bowl party without crisps and beer being like omnipresent. I think I don't know what. Yeah, you would be horrified. You'd have to renounce your diet here.
Yeah, all the Super Bowl parties that I'm invited to, and all the Super Bowl parties that you're invited to.
Do you think, okay, next year when you move here and you'll get to celebrate the Super Bowl in the United States, do you think you're going to be one of those women that just gets super into football?
No, because I would have had my shot at it. I've told you the only sport I like is wrestling, circa about the years 1997 to 2007. Those 10 years are the greatest in sport history. Anything other than that, I don't really care about.
You
Although I
never
do
know.
like female gymnastics.
You never know. You might move here and all of a sudden you'll start getting really into MAGA and you'll get really
America.
into beer and you're going to be one of those girls that just wears like football jerseys and goes to sports bars. And the funny thing about women when they get into, I mean, whatever. Plenty of women know way more about football than I do. I'll readily admit that. But I find it really funny when you see women who just overcompensate because it's like, women aren't supposed to be, men will mansplain football to women, but then women will overcompensate because they know so much more about football and then get crazy about it. It is really funny when you see like a female fanatical football fan.
I've always thought if I was gonna get into an American sport, it would always be baseball. Baseball's kind of romantic to me. There's some romance included with baseball. I like the fact it's like 6 hours long. You sat in the baking sun and you can just eat hot
So
dogs.
it is so boring, and it's one of the worst sports to see live because yes, you're seeing there just I could feel my skin just melting. I'm not a baseball fan. I've been to a couple games, hated every second of it. I've hated any live. Actually, I hate all sports. Put it that way. If I had to choose, I probably would go to an NFL game because they're shorter typically. But even then, it's an unbearable experience. But you'll see. Next year you're gonna get all crazy with the football. You're gonna be wearing a jersey, probably painting your face, making a 7-layer bean dip.
No, I'm not getting behind the seven-layer bean dip. I was
Well,
already against refried beans.
against your forehead, just bam, throwing them on the ground.
I can do that anyways.
Super Bowl 56 is tomorrow, Sunday, February 13th, in Los Angeles. And even crazier, it's Los Angeles' home team, the Rams, playing the Bengals.
This is we definitely talked about this on the second show. I don't think you can call them your home team when you just bought them from like Delaware or whatever. You're like, oh, your team's suck in there. We'll just buy you and now you're ours. That's
No, the,
not how it works in British football. My God.
the franchise moved. I mean, there's been a few teams. The Raiders were LA Raiders for a bit. Then there were the Rams actually were the Los Angeles Rams. Then they moved to St. Louis. and they came back to LA now.
I'd
And
be
then
interested to see if there's ever been a team that's never moved. And it has always been like, I don't know, the Buffalo Spurs or whatever.
Green Bay Packers, the
Right.
Detroit Lions. There's some teams that will. But anyway, what's interesting about the Rams is my favorite football team is the Detroit Lions. Detroit Lions won one game this season. They almost went winless. They're a terrible team, and the quarterback for the Detroit Lions was Matthew Stafford. But Matthew Stafford got traded last year for the quarterback of the Rams. And so now it's kind of funny because Matthew Stafford is might win the Super Bowl tomorrow, his first year as quarterback for the LA Rams, and the quarterback for Detroit, Jared Goff, had won one game. Would you be pissed off if you're that guy?
Yeah. I'd be like, my career is cursed.
I would just be like, fuck you, dude. I had to move to Michigan. And have to play games in Detroit. It's fucking cold here because he was in Los Angeles before. And Matthew Stafford's like, fuck Michigan, fuck Detroit. And now he's in Los Angeles, living in like Bel Air or something, and about to win the Super Bowl. Yeah, I
Well,
would. I hope Jared Goff tries to assassinate him.
I do like his name, Jared Goff. Does he
Goff.
look like a goth?
No, it's Goff, but he does look like a Goff
That's
Goff.
how, well, that's what we call them over here. We call them goths,
Goff.
Goff. Also the same as in the goth character in Peacemaker, my new favorite TV show.
I don't even remember who the Goth character is in that. Is that little Asian guy?
You'll see. You know who it is. It's the I don't want to give spoilers away in case people aren't watching it. It's the one of the butterflies, isn't it?
Oh, okay, okay. I now know who you're talking about. Anyway, the city is ridiculous this weekend because everyone's freaking out because the Super Bowl is here in Los Angeles and the Rams are playing. But it is ridiculous, and there's tons of people out and about. In fact, the rapper Kodak Black got shot outside of Justin Bieber's after party last night, just around the corner from where I live on La Cienega. It's some place called the Nice Guy Club. He was just standing in the street, 245, full on drive by, got shot like 6 times.
You know what? I'd want to be shot coming out of a Justin Bieber party as well because I'd want to die of embarrassment of ever having been to a Justin Bieber party.
It is funny. Around here, like there's all these like douchebag like bar restaurant
In
places.
Hollywood, in Los Angeles, there's douchebags. You don't say.
No, it's particular restaurants. There's tons of douchebags everywhere, but these restaurants, you don't really see them in like Silver Lake or Echo Park as much. But all around West Hollywood area, it's like these little like the Nice Guy Club, and they charge like $26 for Jack and Coke,
Fuck
and they serve
that.
food. They're all like bar restaurants, but there's a ton of them. So he must have like rented out this place and just had his after party because I guess he was performing somewhere around here. But I think this will be the first of many shootings this weekend.
Let's hope so. I'm here
Yeah,
for
I
it.
do think. Well, Sophie Stadium, which is the new football stadium that they built here in Los Angeles, is in Inglewood. If you recall, who's from Inglewood, you got NWA, Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, all that whole crew is from that area. And the halftime show for the Super Bowl 56 here will feature Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre, Mary J. Blige, Kendrick Lamar, and Eminem, along with two deaf rappers that we talk about on. Did we talk about on the second show or news or both?
Both, I think, because I do a very good impression
Yeah,
of.
you can hear Kate Rambo's very hurtful impression of deaf rappers.
I do a great impression of deaf people. I'm not going to give it away for free now. It's behind a paywall. I'll get cancelled. It happened to Jimmy Carr. It'll happen to me.
Punching down, or as I say, punching down syndrome people, which is what Kate wants to do. Um, but anyway, yeah, they're going to be doing the halftime show, and I think it's kind of. I mean, I bet you it'll be kind of funny, mainly because there'll be people my age that will just be sitting there like singing all the lyrics. It's like because they're all dads now that listen to this music.
That's
Yeah, I don't think
true.
the youngsters listen to this. Listen
These
to that.
youngsters who listen to this rap that
I
I
don't think the
knew.
youngsters. They're not listening to Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre. Maybe Kendrick Lamar.
Do you know what? You shouldn't be
Not
so
Eminem.
judgmental like that because you don't know.
Well, I don't know, but I'm thinking they don't. I think it's mostly people in their mid 40s are like putting white guys putting on Eminem albums, right, and singing along. Anyway, as I mentioned before, there are no Super Bowl parties for me this weekend. No one, and not a single invite to a Super Bowl party.
That doesn't surprise me.
I'm crushed. I don't know. I mean, I was thinking about this. I really don't have too many friends that have Super Bowl parties. And the ones that do don't really want me around their friends or family, I think. And that's
Yeah,
totally
I
understand.
yeah, I get it too.
I mean, I've ruined a few in my time. I've been to a couple good ones. Wackerly's, I don't remember what was that, like 2006, had one of the most memorable Bowl parties I've ever been to. That was great. We've talked about it on the show many
We have
times.
talked about that at
He
parties.
like had this whole spread of food and no one showed up. It was just me and him. And then I think my girlfriend at the time showed up and was just like, "Wow, this is the lamest Super Bowl party I've ever seen." I'm like, shut up, woman. Eat your nachos. But yeah, so people.
Stop talking about nachos.
You don't have to be envious of me and my lack of Super Bowl parties. This could be you. You could be disinvited from your friends and family Super Bowl parties, especially your in-laws Super Bowl parties. You
God, I
too
hope so.
could be disinvited. And it's not that hard. I mean, well, there's a couple ways to do this. You could be a drunk asshole who whips your cock out at the kitchen table and asks if anyone wants stuffing. You could do that.
Hey.
You'll definitely get disinvited that way. Or you could be a bit more subtle and discuss the crimes of your favorite NFL criminals, murderers, and domestic abusers.
Here we go.
You can do. And you can start, I would ease into it. Start with the famous ones and
We
then
all know who it is.
migrate, move to the more obscure. I recommend focusing on maybe one or two and then describe their crimes in graphic detail while just shoving 7 layer bean dip in your mouth. Like, keep talking while you're eating and just keep talking about, like, OJ Simpson, for example.
Oh, he's
OJ,
the most famous. Fall James. Here he is.
OJ Simpson, definitely the most famous NFL killer. If the gloves don't fit, you can't
You
acquit.
must acquit. No, you must acquit.
If the gloves don't fit, you must
Must
acquit.
acquit. Get the rhyme right.
Um, OJ was accused of murdering his wife and her lover. He was found not guilty,
Yeah,
miraculously.
but in the civil court, he was found guilty.
He was also found, yeah, he was found guilty in a wrongful death suit filed by the victim's family. He was also, wasn't he like, didn't he actually end up serving time for,
For robbery.
yeah, menacing some guy who bought OJ memorabilia?
Not menacing, he tried to rob him. This he claimed that this guy had stolen loads of merchandise from him and other sports stars. So he went there to go and get it back. And then he
Yeah.
went to jail for that. And now he's on Twitter with the rest of us.
Yeah, he's out and about now. Maybe we should get an interview. Michael Vick, probably another one of the more famous NFL criminals here. Look at that sad dog.
It is a sad dog. Oh, all the scars on his little face.
Vick's
You know,
NFL career came to a halt in 2007 after he pled guilty for his involvement in a dog fighting ring.
yeah,
Terrible.
I can't remember this guy. I don't like if it's a footballer kicking a cat, that's like where I draw the line. I just can't read these news stories or anything like that. Like,
Oh, it was awful. I mean, Michael Vick's probably one of the more famous NFL quarterbacks. I mean, he's a really gifted player, but what an asshole. Spent 21 months in federal prison. And his arrest and subsequent conviction garnered him notoriety with the general public, which lasted through the rest of his career. However, he did make a comeback, even after like butchering, I don't know, hundreds of dogs. He ended up making a comeback and played again in the NFL. Uh, Another high-profile NFL killer, Aaron Hernandez. Aaron Hernandez. Uh,
yes,
he was an American football tight end and convicted murderer. He actually did play in the Super Bowl with the New England Patriots. He was good. He was actually a really good player. But his career came to an abrupt end after his arrest and conviction for the murder of Odin Lloyd.
he's a lot like Chris Benoit, though. He had so many like bumps to the noggin that his brain was like just like jelly.
Yeah.
He
Look at
wasn't a criminal mastermind.
his head even looks misshapen.
You know what
Yeah.
I've always hated about Aaron Hernandez, and I hyper focus on it, is always his hairline. Because it looks like a helmet. It looks like the man is wearing a helmet of hair before he even puts a helmet on.
Yeah, I don't understand how you even get that hair. So is that a fade? Like what kind of
No, it's just so straight. But you know what? Fuck him.
I don't know. They say that he was like a gay dude or something, and
They do.
I don't know if he still was or if he always was or something. But yes, I do think he had some major brain damage, and the crime he committed was just ridiculous. I mean, it was just it made no sense to what he did and how he tried to cover it up. But yeah, I think he committed suicide in prison as well.
He did, yeah. Because it's big brain
Another
stuff.
famous, kind of high profile one, but getting to the point of becoming more obscure is Ray Lewis, who also played in the Super Bowl with the Ravens. There he is, Ray Lewis. He was arrested for 2 counts of first degree murder after he was involved in a brawl that led to the stabbing and death of one of the people involved. He pled guilty to obstruction of justice, and the charges were dropped. Famously, he was wearing a white suit that was just covered in blood that he dumped
Oh,
garbage can inside a park. He just threw it out and they found it. It was covered in blood, and he was just like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And the people that he was with who did do the stabbing also were like, I have no idea what you're talking about. He ended up getting off acquitted for self defense. Um,
Really? Shit.
he settled for an undisclosed amount with the victim's family, which tends to happen with these type of high profile NFL murders. But yeah, he made a comeback too, played in the Super Bowl. Now this guy, I think, is a perfect candidate to ruin a Super Bowl party. If you go into graphic detail about his crimes, the crimes of Ray Caruth, I think you'll definitely alienate yourself and probably not get invited back. So Ray Caruth's girlfriend, the woman who was carrying his baby, she was like 8 months pregnant, I think, at the time. He asked her to get a divorce, and she said no. I mean, she was also like 7 or 8 months pregnant. So he hired a hitman to shoot her 4 times in a drive-by shooting. Now, keep in mind, she was pregnant, 7 months pregnant at this point, and she was shot 4 times in a drive-by shooting. However, she survived long enough to call 911.
Good for her.
Yeah, and report the crime. She described to the dispatchers that Caruth pulled up in front of her, stopped his car so she could not move, like he boxed her in. The assailants then drove up next to her and shot her 4 times. Caruth received an 18 to 24-year sentence for his involvement in the crime. I believe he's still in prison. However, I was reading as I was doing some research, his son, the unborn son, Chancellor Lee, he's 21 years old, just graduated high school. He has permanent brain damage and cerebral palsy owing to the chaotic circumstances of his birth in 1999.
Well, that's a really shit hit, man. You either do the job properly or don't do it at all. I would demand my money back.
I'm amazed that, yeah, I don't know if he was like, if the hitman's like, well, you didn't tell me to kill the unborn child.
Why, instead of shooting at her, you shoot at her stomach, don't you? Because you don't necessarily want to kill her. He's wanting to kill the baby that he doesn't want to pay alimony for.
And you
So
never.
I would just be like, dude, shoot at the stomach.
I don't see how you could miss.
When
I mean,
you're
aren't you,
pregnant.
aren't
Yeah.
you big house at that point? It's like I'm amazed at maybe just bad aim or something. I'm not sure. Anyway, if I was Chancellor Lee, I would hate my father. But yeah, go into detail about the crimes of Ray Caruth, and they're going to love you at the Super Bowl party. Also, there's Randall Woodfield, who is the only white guy on this list here. But he played for the Green Bay Packers in 1974, and then a few years later went on a brutal murder spree, killing up to 44 people. I think they called him the I-5 killer at the time. So another famous serial killer that played in the NFL. And then the subject of our intro today is another one, very obscure, but also very entertaining to share the crimes of at a Super Bowl party. Robert Rozier. Unfortunately, Robert Rozier's criminal activity surpasses his time as a defensive end for the St. Louis Cardinals. He was only really an NFL player for about 2 years. But then, he followed that career with a gig as a serial killer. He joined a cult called Yahweh Ben Yahweh's Secret Brotherhood. And he proved himself to be a killer of the white devil and even offered up body parts of 7 victims in a show of devotion to the cult leader, Yahweh Ben Yahweh.
Was it like the witches in Macbeth? He had to come back each time with a different body. Oh, wait, are they building a man with blonde
No,
hair and a tan?
same body parts, the ears. The ears. Of the white
Ears?
one.
What? So, oh, is it like Dolph Lundgren in Universal Soldier? They're making a necklace. Oh, that's very nice.
And who wouldn't want a necklace of white men's ears? Ears of
I
the
do.
Rozier's career as a murderer ended with him getting a 22-year prison sentence. But he only served 10 years before being released into the witness protection program because he is a snitch.
Snitch. He's a stool pigeon, as they
Snitchy.
say.
So we're going to get into the story of Robert Rozier, and people feel free to take notes because you can discuss this in detail tomorrow and just entertain the entire football watching audience. And you might not even get invited back next year. That's a good thing. Especially take note if you're going to be going to your in-laws' Super Bowl party. So Robert Rozier here, born July 28th, 1955 in Anchorage, Alaska. He was a United States Air Force brat, moved around a lot with his family. His family eventually settled at in Rancho Cordova, California, and he attended Cordova High School. Smart guy. He had a 1.32 grade point average. Never received his high school diploma.
Well, then he's not a smart guy then.
Being sarcastic. Not a
Okay.
very smart guy. But however, I think
I don't
1.2
know. Sorry, I'm British, so I don't understand what a 1.32 grade point average means.
is very low.
Is it? Okay.
It's out of four. Put it this way, I think
Oh, right.
I graduated with a 3.96. Not trying to
Nerd.
not trying to brag. But no, 1.32 is pretty low. I don't think you're really going to get into many colleges, community college maybe. But I think it's actually kind of high for the NFL. Um, Terrible joke. That was mean. That was mean. Punching downs again.
You are punching downs again, not unlike my great impression of deaf people.
People you don't want to hear. It's very hurtful.
It's very good.
So at Cordova High School, Rozier was an athletic wunderkind. Now he was a very talented athlete. He played American football as a defensive end. He was all league, all conference, all Northern California. And not only that, he could high jump 6 feet, 6 feet 7 inches, and a vertical jump 10 feet. Sprint the 40-yard dash in 4.7 seconds. And as a teenager, he could bench press 375 pounds. Quite an athlete.
Yeah, so you know what? He may not be like book smart or like, word smart. Lots of people aren't. But he's, he can do all that shit I can't fucking do.
Gifted athlete, definitely. And I
Yeah.
think a lot of these guys are, and I think they put more emphasis on their athletic ability and training than they do on their, academic education. So he was passed over to play football initially when he applied for colleges because he didn't have a high school diploma, not even a GED. It's like, dude, go get your GED. It's not that hard. But he didn't have one. However, Grays Harbor College in Aberdeen, Washington's like, you don't need a high school diploma to go to college.
Well,
Come,
Aberdeen's the town where Kurt Cobain first tried to kill himself in. So I'd be like weighing that up. Do I want to go to the town where Kurt Cobain like became so depressed he wanted to die? I'll stay here in California.
I just think it's funny that any college would be like, oh, you don't need to graduate high school to come here.
Just
It's like,
come
who
on
cares?
in.
Come
Yeah.
on. We'll make sure you learn something. At Aberdeen, he played football at the Grays Harbor College, and from there he was recruited by the University of California, Berkeley's football coach Mike White as a defensive end. Now, Berkeley is probably one of the more esteemed institutions here in the United States. And so it is kind of funny how they're like, yeah, we'll just recruit this guy. He doesn't have a high school diploma, but don't say anything about it. We're going to let him graduate with an African American studies major. He can major in African American studies, but he's going to be playing football for us because
That
he's a gift.
yeah. I mean, that is African American studies. If he's black and playing football, then he's basically studying himself getting better at football.
Well, I,
Ergo,
I
there's a
often
degree.
wonder. I mean, African American studies, I'm sure, is uh, a major that they have at different schools. But it is funny with these guys that play college sports. They don't care about getting a college degree in anything really. Some do, some do. Some go on even to get their masters after playing football. But most of them are just kind of like, no, I'm getting the university isn't paying me per se to play, but they're giving me like cars and paying my rent to live in these nice condos, and because they're bringing in so much money for the school, like University of Michigan, has one of the hugest Big Ten football teams. So I noticed when I was in school there. I mean, fucking Brady played for University of Michigan. I'm sure he got many hookups. But when I was in school there were certain classes you could take that the athletes took, and so I needed a science credit because I was what broadcast communications and English, and so I needed a science credit, but I didn't want to take like
Nerd.
you had to take like a certain level of like science, maths, and whatever. But I didn't want to take like oceanography or something difficult. I did initially because I'd heard that people are like, "Oh no, you got to sign up for the oceans class because that's
For
what
the
all the
babes.
well, they're like that's what all the athletes take. So it's really easy." So I signed up for oceanography. Not an easy class, very difficult. You have to like have a background in chemistry, and you have to do it. So I dropped out of oceanography and then signed up for oceans, which is just a
What?
ridiculous course. Yeah, oceans. I didn't know. I thought they said it was oceanography, but they meant oceans. Oceans was just a class for athletes. It's like you didn't even really have to go. And when you went, they just showed you like videos of oceans. Like we would watch films of different oceans. It was it's basically a
Did they show you Ocean's 11, Ocean's 12, Ocean's 13?
I
Is that what
don't
they showed you?
I don't recall that, but I never really went to class along with all the other athletes. I think it was just one of those fake classes so people could get science credits. But I remember that you had to show up the first day because if you didn't show up the first
Yeah,
day,
to
then
register.
yeah, and then you weren't registered. So the first day, I remember I showed up at well, I went to oceanography, quit out of that one, and then signed up for oceans instead. Went to oceans on the first day, just all these famous athletes, and it was at the time when like the Fab Five was playing at Michigan. People remember this, like was it Jalen Rose, Tyrone Wheatley. I didn't see Brady in that one, but just all these famous football players. I just noticed because they were really large people. And I'm like, oh, I imagine there must be some famous people in here. But they just showed up for the first day and then the last day to take the test.
You know, a lot of people give me shtick for I was in art school for 7 years and I have like a contemporary culture degree. I get shtick for that. But at no point during my contemporary culture degree did I have to undertake any studies that was just simply titled Oceans.
Oceans, yeah. That was probably the easiest
Oceans.
class I took at the University of Michigan. But I mean, whatever, I needed to graduate along with these guys. I think there's just a lot of classes like this that are geared towards athletes. And then they just kind of sign up and basically, I don't even, I think they show up, so they're registered, and they show up on the last day. And then probably the teacher just gives them
Yeah,
a
they're like, what have you learned about oceans, boys? They're wet.
It's a great movie.
You're
Uh,
passed.
6'3" 240 pound Bob Rozier was drafted by the St. Louis Cardinals in the ninth round of the 1979 NFL Draft. He only played for 6 games, didn't start for a single one of them, so he wasn't that great of an NFL player. His professional sports career in the States was derailed by allegations of drug abuse and petty crime.
Nice.
So then he moved on to the Canadian Football League.
Because they'd
Playing
have him.
Well, that's typically what happens. You have to go play for the Canadian Football League, or what was the one that Vince McMahon started? The XFL.
The XFL, which I thought was really good, and I watched and I liked the concept of that. And if that had continued on, I would have been a fan of. It's like Australian rules football. Make it more bloody. Come on.
Yeah, and then it was supposed to be like extreme football, but didn't really go anywhere. I thought there was an LA team though that
Can
Gene's
you can you remember when the WWF was so fucking massive and so fucking huge that they had the WWF bar in New York? When I was 15, my goal was to go to that fucking bar to watch wrestling in.
Kate. I hate to let you in on a secret here, but it's not real.
Yes, it is. Wrestling is real and life is fake. Wrestling is real. Where's John Steele when I need him?
Steel. Yeah, you're gonna end up like Steel if if you don't accept the truth that wrestling is not real. So Rozier moved to Canada, played for the Hamilton Tiger Cats and the Saskatchewan Rough Riders.
Poor guy.
Then he made it back to the U.S. and signed with the Oakland Raiders, but only for about 2 weeks. So while playing football in Canada, apparently he wrote bad checks for $20,000 to $30,000, which by 2020 standards, around like between $50,000 and $70,000.
What was he buying? Like cars and stuff.
I don't know. He's just
Priuses.
had checks everywhere. Back when people used to use checks. By the mid 80s, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police issued 32 warrants for fraud against Bob Rozier here. I don't know if they could catch him on their horse. Those hats, those cute little Mountie hats. I need to get one of those. So anyway, he wasn't doing too well. Life was kind of spiraling here for Bob Rozier. His stint in the Canadian Football League didn't really pay off much because he went to the Raiders for 2 weeks and then was fired. But what his life did make a bit of a 180 after he met Yahweh Ben Yahweh in 1982. And by 86, he was a full-fledged member of the Nation of Yahweh, which is a cult slash religious movement. Some people say religious movement, other people say cult, that teaches that American blacks are the true Jews. So yeah, here's a picture of Yahweh ben Yahweh.
As a
Rozier,
side note, can you read that Hebrew that's on his thing? Can you read that?
Yahweh,
Is that what it says? What does that mean?
Adonai, God.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for clearing
Um,
that up.
Rozier fully embraced Yahweh ben Yahweh's temple of love, and he donated all of
Ooh.
his possessions and even changed his name to Neriah Israel, or Child of God.
I'm gonna start calling my house the Temple of Love. It's actually more
Temple
the
of Love.
Temple of Hate.
Um, in 1985, he then joined up with the Brotherhood, which is one of Yahweh's secret groups that required murdering a white devil and returning with a body part as a gift to their leader, Yahweh ben Yahweh. So he was making the necklace of white men's ears.
Can I also just point out that in this picture, you know that he is an evil bastard because he is a man who has very long fingernails.
Whoa, he does have, Anton LaVey had very long fingernails.
And I don't know if they can get away with it because it's kind of satanic, the same way Glenn Danzig does. But if you are a man and you have long fingernails, don't ever expect a woman to say, "Put your fingers in my pussy." It is the grossest thing. It is gross. But on chicks, it's fine. But on men, gross.
You know what's interesting? If you go for, I've only been for a few pedicures in my time, but I never really thought about getting one because I'm like, I can cut my own toenails. But it is an enjoyable experience.
That is some boast. Is this you where you reveal that you're gay and the marriage is over?
Possibly, I'm waiting for a perfect moment for that. Um, I love how that's your first instinct.
You were like,
No,
I've only been for a few pedicures and manicures, and they were just so lovely.
hey, believe me, don't get me wrong. Pedicures are very enjoyable. I've never had a manicure, but a pedicure, very enjoyable experience. And I think it was, I forget which ex-girlfriend was like, you got to go try this out. It is a very enjoyable. You've never even had one, which is unbelievable. But anyway, when you're there, you see a lot of black guys. Black guys like to go get manicures and pedicures. So it doesn't surprise me that he has like long fingernails.
I also think this was like the 80s as well. There was a lot more freedoms given to men in a way than there is.
Maybe, I mean, even if I haven't been for a pedicure in a few years, but when I was living in Oakland when I first got one, you'd almost always see black guys getting pedicures
That's
and
nice.
manicures.
It's clean. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a
Look
very
after
enjoyable
yourself.
experience. Yeah, it's like you're taking care of like the minutia, the slight details. It's not just for gay people.
I'm
You-
not suggesting that. I was just saying that's the way I thought it was going to go in my head then.
I love how that's your first instinct. Are you just waiting for me to like announce that I'm gay?
And my response will be, well, I'm not surprised.
Well, keep waiting. I'm not ready yet, Kate. So I'm just going to find an opportune moment. So anyway, Yahweh ben Yahweh, he had this brotherhood that was his secret group, and he called them his death angels. So there's Robert Rozier in his death angel garb, and Yahweh would encourage his death angels to kill his cult dissidents. So anyone who disagreed with his teachings or the lessons of his cult, as well as random white people in acts of racial retribution. Have to cut off the ears of the white devil.
Being called Death Angels is so fucking cool, though. It's so cool.
Yeah, it reminds me of the band. Good band.
Yeah.
At its peak in the late 80s, the Nation of Yahweh had thousands of followers and owned millions of dollars in real estate,
Oh, wow.
mostly in Miami. They kind of mixed messages of black power with fringe ideologies. And they pledged, all of the followers pledged their devotion to founder Yahweh ben Yahweh, who they believed to be divine. They believed him to be the Son of God. And his reputation in Miami was actually very positive. I mean, he ran a lot of social outreach and raised money and charities, and had built several foundations for African Americans. They even the mayor in 1990, on October 7th, declared October 7th to be Yahweh ben Yahweh Day. He had
Oh,
his
I
own.
think this Miami mayor is going to end up with a bit of egg on his face, David.
He does. Uh, Yahweh, the self proclaimed wonderful one, says he rose from the dead to be a Messiah to American members of a lost black tribe of Israel. He says he has thousands of devoted followers, and he will lead them all out of the wilderness of white domination. Here's a quote: I am the Messiah. I am the world. I am incarnate. All who receive me shall be saved from immorality and death.
All who receive me. It's like a guy coming on to you in a bar. If you shall receive me, I shall.
That's a great thing, though, pickup line. If you receive me, you will be saved from immorality and death.
I
Would
don't
you
want
like
to be saved from immorality. In fact, if anything, I want to become more immoral. Thank you,
you
Governor.
like a martini? That's what I would do. He was soon eventually arrested on a litany of charges, including racketeering, extortion, arson, and murder.
You do not say.
Yeah, so not surprised there. But yeah, see, you can see you can see his, he's got like the Hebrew writing on his turban. You know, they wore white. All of his followers wore white. I'll get into that in a minute. So, a little history on Yahweh. He was born Hewlin Mitchell Jr. in Kingfisher, Oklahoma in 1935, the oldest of 15 children.
What?
His father, a Pentecostal minister.
Oh my goodness.
His sister is a Grammy-winning opera singer, Leona Mitchell.
No way.
Yeah. Throughout his life, he adopted several religious practices, and he claimed he knew that he was divine by the age of 3.
Well, I'm also divine, but I don't shout about it and I don't start a cult.
So he already had a messianic complex by the age of 3. That's precocious. It is. Studied psychology in college, later earned a master's degree in economics at the University of Atlanta. He had joined the military.
Oh, there's a shock.
And in the 1960s, he joined the Nation of Islam and took the name Hewlon X.
Hewlon's pretty cool. I wonder what that means.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that was like a common name at the time. He left the Nation of Islam in the late 60s and became a faith healer Christian preacher and named himself Father Mitchell. He proclaimed that he had divine connections to God, much like other contemporaries at the time, other African-American faith healers. He then moved to Miami, Florida in 1978, where he gathered members of the city's Black Hebrew Israelite congregations, because there were several at the time. And that's when he founded the Nation of Yahweh. So, and he's the leader, obviously, of all. So he kind of like made he united all the Black Hebrew Israelite congregations and in the area at the time.
He must be like Sam Kinison in a way, because if you've grown up in a Pentecostal family, you've definitely got the spirit, the blood of it. And I'm sure he's charismatic as fuck to be able to take all these people and then become their leader. He must be like fucking super charismatic.
His doctrine emphasized the belief that God and all the prophets of the Bible were black, and that blacks would gain the knowledge of their true history through his teachings.
Of course.
He also characterized whites and Jews as infidels and oppressors. And he rebranded himself as Yahweh ben Yahweh, God, the Son of God. And so here he is with, so the Hebrew writing is Yahweh ben Yahweh.
Doesn't it look like an ISIS video? The background.
It totally does.
It looks like an ISIS video.
The master teacher.
He's like, and to my left is a reporter. And if you don't meet my demands in 20 minutes, head comes off.
Well, there were beheadings. So along
shit.
anti-white screeds, heavily influenced by the Nation of Islam beliefs, he borrowed ideas from the Black Hebrew Israelites, which there were. And he believed that the black people are the true descendants of the ancient Hebrews of the Bible. He was dressed in a jeweled turban with flowing white robes. And like as the Nation of Yahweh took off, late 70s, early 80s, he began attracting a lot of followers through his sermons. He dubbed his religious sect the Nation of Yahweh. And at their height, there were about 20,000 members in 45 cities across the country. He told his followers to wear white. He claimed that he that overcometh the white man, the same shall be clothed in white raiment. We are white people's property as long as we keep their name. And that was another lesson, because he led many followers to take on biblical names, often adopting the surname Israel, which is what Bob Rozier did.
Okay.
So most of his literature here, the Yahweh literature, was written by him under the name Moses Israel. This is before he changed it officially to Yahweh ben Yahweh, and it's studded with invective against whites and Jews. Here's a quote: "The truth that will lead to freedom is the knowledge of our great, good, and terrible black God Yahweh. The knowledge of this white man is the devil, Satan, serpent, and beast."
Nice.
Synagogues. He referenced them as synagogues of Satan. This is one of my favorite aspects of him. So Yahweh was married and divorced twice. He's the father of 4 kids, but he never lacked for companionship at the Temple of Love headquarters.
Temple of Love.
There are also the temple was the living quarters of dozens of faithful young women who served as staff, teachers, and bodyguards for Yahweh. He called them the Circle of 12.
That's pretty cool. Female bodyguards in your. I'm sure some of them are there willingly, if not all of
Gaddafi
them.
had female bodyguards. Remember them? There's like an elite force of assassins.
Do you know why?
Uh,
Because women are fierce. I would rather probably have female bodyguards. They'll
I
claw
think
your eyes out.
I think you make more of a statement that way.
Yeah. Sexier too.
So Yahweh said, "We may be rabbis and nuns here, but we don't believe in celibacy."
We be banging.
So
Temple of Love.
the Yahwehs operated a grocery, a beauty parlor, and a takeout fish stand for local residents. They even
What?
had a Yahweh university.
I need to know what type of fish, like fish and chips, or just like fresh fish that you would then take home.
It's a whitefish sandwich. It's a thing with Nation of Islam. Because I remember when I lived in Oakland, right after, I think it was my first job after the strip club. I designed hooker ads in the East Bay Express and for the SF Weekly. Where the East Bay Express was in Emeryville, and right up the street was a black Muslim bakery. And I always wanted to go in there because you see them peppered around Oakland, these black Muslim bakeries. The best fish sandwich I think I've ever had.
I want that
It's
right now.
yeah,
And
it's
some
kind of like
nachos.
it's like breaded whitefish, but oh my god, it was so good. I
So
would
it's
get
kind of like
lunch.
what do they call it in McDonald's?
Yeah,
The
like the fish sandwich at McDonald's. Similar to that, but better though, because the fish was better.
yeah,
Like
'cause
McDonald's
it's
is
real.
like greasy and it's like processed and packaged. This was like you could tell it was like freshly made and it was really good. And plus, I think a lot of those guys they don't eat pork, they don't eat meat.
Yeah, so you
So
gotta eat fish. That's kind of
that's
like our diet. We could, if I wasn't white and you weren't a Jew, they could have let us in this.
be a black Muslim. Yeah. They had he founded the Yahweh University. And on so young kids at the Yahweh University would sing songs and learn about the teachings of Yahweh and the world's nations and the planets where their beliefs came from. Many members of the Nation of Yahweh lived in communally in the Temple of Love.
Oh, I would hate that.
Yeah, that's true. Here it is. The Temple of Love. It actually burned down during
Oh, I was about to ask.
there were riots in Miami, and they burned the temple down. But it was in the historically black enclave of Liberty City. Followers generated money by selling goods. They had Yahweh branded drinks, which I've never really seen. But all the proceeds and donations that they made to the cult here, the group invested in real estate. So they owned apartment buildings, hotels, supermarkets. So around 1990, their assets totaled about $9 million.
Can I just say, Liberty City is a place I know very well, and I have driven the streets of Liberty City many a time, many an hour.
It's another Grand Theft Auto
It
reference.
is a Grand Theft Auto
But I
Liberty
love how
City.
you've like traveled vicariously throughout the United States via that game.
If you've played GTA, then you know what I mean, because they did base it on real cities and real streets that are
And
iconic.
real buildings, locations, yeah. So what was
Yeah.
the one in the Bay Area?
That's San Andreas. San
Yeah,
Andreas basically covers all of California and Nevada.
yeah, they show like a lot of landmarks there. So the nation of Yahweh presented itself for all intents and purposes, as a religious organization dedicated to improving Black lives by teaching self reliance and urban renewal, which they did. I mean, they founded many charities and offered educational opportunities to young Black kids and disadvantaged youth. But darker things were going on behind the closed doors of the Temple of Love.
Inside a cult, you don't say. You don't say that a cult has dark yearnings.
Anyone who dared to question the teachings of Yahweh were subject to discipline, beatings, and in some cases, murder. 1981, former Nation of Yahweh member Aston Green was beheaded after leaving the group. When his roommates and fellow defectors, Carlton Carey and Mildred Banks, went to report the incident to police, they were attacked. Carey was fatally shot, and Banks was shot and struck several times with a machete, but she actually managed to survive the attack.
Wow.
Yeah, one of the more famous incidents, and this kind of led to their downfall. In the fall of 1986, a large contingent from the Nation of Yahweh, all Death Angels, showed up at a rundown apartment building that the group had bought in Opelika, Florida. Tenants claimed the Yahwehs, who were armed with wooden staffs and white robes, began to forcibly evict them. Residents Anthony Brown and Rudolph Broussard, who lived there for a period of years, resisted, and that evening they were both shot to death outside the apartment building. It was this incident that ended up resulting in the arrest of former University of California Berkeley football player and St. Louis Cardinals player Robert Rozier. At this time, he was going by Neria Israel. They charged him with the murders, and later on throughout the trial, Rozier would admit to killing 7 people to please his leader, Yahweh.
Wow.
He was arrested and charged with murder on October 31st, 1986.
Oh, nice. Being arrested and charged on Halloween.
Halloween. I think we have there he is. There's Rozier.
He looks a bit like a sad puppy in this one.
I know, compared to how proud he was in the Yahweh garb. Rozier would eventually make a deal with prosecutors. He accepted a 22-year prison sentence for 4 murders in exchange for becoming their star witness. And he revealed a lot of juicy details about the crimes committed by the Death Angels.
We're going to get into the good stuff now.
Yeah, he told courts about the secret group known as the Brotherhood, whom Yahweh colloquially referred to as his Death Angels. They were the group's enforcers, and they were encouraged to kill random white people in acts of racial retribution. They would then cut off the victims' ears and present them to Yahweh. His Yahweh's teachings were, you're not going to achieve like self-realization until you kill a white devil and bring me an ear.
I like it. It's weird that it's ears, though. I mean, like, what's he doing with them afterwards? Is he making a necklace? No, because you're not going to necessarily just kill white men. You might kill a white woman. You can't cut her dick off. What are you going to do then?
Tits.
Tits are so much messier than cutting a dick off. Come on, use your... So yeah, that's probably why they chose ears, because ears probably won't bleed as much, and everyone has them.
I mean, you could cut off a foot when you just wasn't into foot. Like feet.
I would have said like a toe or a little finger, a little pinky finger, on the left hand. That's Satan's finger. So wouldn't you cut off Satan's finger?
How many ears he had and where he kept them? Like, did he pick them? Did he have a drawer full of ears?
I could imagine he had like a box of them, and every so often he would put his hands inside the box and be like, "Whee!" and chuck them up in the air and be like, "My ears."
I wonder if he'd pick it up and be like, "I can't hear you."
Like Dolph Lundgren in Universal Soldier.
The Death Angels were vested with the responsibility of keeping the flock in line. So Rozier said his duties spanned everything from driving the bus to committing cold-blooded murders. So he would just go and commit murder and chop off some ears. He was involved in the 1986 Coconut Grove apartment complex beatings and murders. Apparently, he followed a drunk white man to his apartment, killed him and his roommate with a 6-inch Japanese knife. This was shortly before the murders at the apartment complex. On September 5th, Rozier and another this is September 5th, 1986, Rozier and another Brotherhood member killed an unconscious man a 61-year-old Raymond Kelly who was just parked in a bar parking lot. Like this guy passed out in his car
And he gets murdered.
drinking, and they cut off the victim's ears to show Ben Yahweh. And when they lost the ears, they had to return to the body. Okay, so what happened? They cut off one ear, lost it, and had to go back to cut off another ear because they lost the original one.
Can you see that? Bro, have you got the ear? No, bro. Have you got the ear? Shit.
I don't get like how would you lose someone's fucking ear?
Just put it in your pocket and just don't touch it till you get back home. It's that simple.
I mean, I don't know. They're a bit forgetful or something. So Rozier and three other Yahwehs killed 45-year-old Cecil Branch, stabbing him 25 times in retaliation for a previous confrontation. Cecil was also a former member of the Nation of Yahweh. Upon Rozier's arrest, he told police that he was 404 years old and couldn't remember his life before conversion to Yahweh.
Right.
And what's interesting is that so right when he was arrested, for the first 7 months, the Nation supported Rozier with a lawyer, Jewish lawyer named Ellis Rubin.
Oh, that's funny. He gets a Jew lawyer when he needs one. This whole time hating the Jews, now suddenly he needs one.
Jews are good at certain things, all right? So they support him with a lawyer and a public relations campaign. But when Rozier issued an ultimatum to the church for a different lawyer, he was excommunicated. And it was at this point that he decided to become a rat. And so March 1988, he turned state's evidence in exchange for a 22-year sentence. And that's when he detailed all of the Nation Yahweh's crimes, the murders in retaliation. He discussed different members of the church who would brag about killings. And then he told about his own involvement in the 1983 public beating death of a martial artist named Leonard Dupree. And that's where he confessed to 4 murders. So by 1990, the Miami Police Department had built a 14-murder conspiracy indictment against 60 members of the Yahweh Nation, including spiritual leader Yahweh Ben Yahweh. So there he is being let off. I wonder if that's the Jewish lawyer.
That's definitely a Jewish lawyer.
Could be a cop. It kind of looks like a cop.
I'm going with Jew lawyer.
The Miami Police Department's case against Yahweh relied heavily upon Rozier's testimony, which was a vector of attack by Yahweh's criminal defense attorneys. Because what they were trying to do is discredit Rozier as a witness. So they said he was singing a song in order to avoid a life sentence or death sentence. One of the lawyers, Curtis Jones, who defended Isaiah Solomon Israel, was another member of the Nation of Yahweh, one of the 16. He alleged that Rozier's the biggest liar. He said, that man would lie on his mother, much less Yahweh Ben Yahweh and his friends and associates. He's been able to elude old Sparky 4 times now. Who would you believe?
Well, not him.
So here's
It's
a clip.
mentalist.
Well, here's a clip from one of the lawyers talking about him. Yeah, no, he is a mentalist.
Completely. So it's going to be an interesting day.
He has touched upon virtually everyone in the case. The question, however, is his credibility. Appears to be a outright psychopath. He's admitted to 7 murders, I believe probably more, and possibly many that he is he's hiding from the government. His credibility is going to be one of the key issues in the case.
And so there you go. I think their main method of defending Yahweh Ben Yahweh was to basically prove the lack of credibility here for Rozier. You know,
I can see that. It would be very easy to discredit him anyways, because unless they have bodies with ears cut off, it could all just be hearsay.
Well, I think what they're depicting him as a psychopathic serial killer. Like the guy killed 4 people, he butchered their ears. You know, Yahweh was like, I have no idea about this. I'm not making an ear necklace. What are you talking about? Obviously, I didn't find the drawer full of ears in his desk. But I think that was the main thing. The defense attorneys are like, well, let's just say he's a psychopath. Paint him as a serial killer, discredit his testimony, and we will acquit the Yahweh Nation here.
If the ear don't fit, we must acquit.
I wonder if he was like putting the ears on the different like earless. So, following a 5-month trial, Yahweh and 6 other members of the Nation of Yahweh were found guilty of conspiracy to commit murder. Yahweh Ben Yahweh was sentenced to 18 years in prison and fined $20,000. He was eventually paroled in 2001. The terms of his parole forbade him from being in contact with any past or present member of the Nation of Yahweh. Although this was rescinded after he was diagnosed with prostate cancer in 2006.
Oh, boo-hoo.
So he died May 7th, 2007 at his home in Opelika, Florida. There he is. This was actually an amazing GIF that just showed like the lightning strike.
Striking.
Yeah,
you can
and
see
the
it.
glow behind Yahweh Ben Yahweh. But it's a great picture of him.
If that would be, like how the modern thing nowadays for gravestones is people get etchings and you'll maybe get your face put on it. That would be a great gravestone image.
I want this NFT. Despite the conviction, though, and his incarceration until 2001, and the court mandated isolation. There he is, surrounded by. I love how look at the mixed race, the heterogeneous group here.
That he seriously believed in.
There's a lot.
The world is a melting pot.
There are a lot of Asian dudes in the Nation of Yahweh.
Yeah.
Anyway, he was isolated from other members of the Nation of Yahweh, and he even died in 2007. The Nation of Yahweh cult is still active to this day, and they consider Yahweh Ben Yahweh to be their Messiah, the Son of God.
He's like a martyr now, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, the leader of their cause. In fact, if you check out their website, which I highly recommend, YahwehBenYahweh.com, I'll add a link to it. You can read about the crucifixion of their Messiah, Yahweh Ben Yahweh. He basically was crucified. It's really funny because they almost take a page out of Trump's Republican defense. If you look at it, it's just like they keep calling him Lying Bob. So Lying Bob Rozier. So kind of like Trump did with Lying Ted Cruz, and anyone that disagreed with him, he called him like a lying. But yeah, if you read this, it's all in caps. I mean, the site is ridiculous, but it's all in caps. You read it. Go to the part where it's called the crucifixion here, and it's in all caps. It says no weapons, no resistance, no violence, and they talk about how following a 25-year FBI practice of disrupting and discrediting black organizations, the Nation of Yahweh had been under close surveillance for 10 years and was taken down by corrupt government and Lion Bob Rozier, a confessed serial killer and drug abuser. In return for his testimony, Lying Bob was rewarded with a reduced sentence after pleading guilty to killing 4 people. So they go here saying how Yahweh, as prophesied, was Christ. So Christ was betrayed into the hands of the authorities by Judas. Yahweh was betrayed by one of his followers, Lying Bob Rozier.
Every time you keep saying Bob Rozier, all I can think of is Bob Lozier. The actor. Bob Lozier.
What would Bob Lozier?
He's in loads of old school stuff, but I hate to say it to you, but it is a Family Guy joke.
God. Another Family Guy joke. Taking that from the show. I'd rather join the Nation of Yahweh than watch a single episode of that accursed program.
That is a bold statement.
The website claims to have abandoned their past racism, and the leader's daughter has stated that all people are children of God, hence that picture we just saw of all the different races. An attorney who's also a member of the group, Gwendolyn Rush, insists that its current war with the U.S. government is a nonviolent verbal battle. They're not technically at war. This is great. There's a section here called the Feasts of Yahweh. And they talk about they do Passover and they have a Feast of Weeks. But this is my favorite. There's a bunch of funny videos on here and you can see videos of his teachings. And there's a flying saucer. I think he says that the Nation of Yahweh came from some planet or space. I don't know. Maybe heaven's a planet, like Jerusalem's a planet, and they came to Earth to save the planet.
Like Scientology as well.
Yeah, similar. So anyway, here's his. This is called the Memorial of Blowing of the Trumpets. This is Yahweh Ben Yahweh blowing the trumpet. He's not that bad.
It's like blowing the shofar.
Yeah, similar. Although he's pretty good at doing this. He's like a Miles Davis.
Some strange sounds are described by listeners like trumpets or horns, almost musical in quality.
The memorial blowing of trumpets pictures to us the return of Yahweh, the Son Yahweh.
Yahweh the Son.
You know
Yahweh.
why they've picked trumpets and not saxophones? Because anyone at any age can play a saxophone. Like me or you could pick up a saxophone right now and play it. But after a certain age, if you don't develop your embouchure, you can't play a trumpet. So he was playing trumpet when he was a child.
Yeah, he must have learned. We came from a musical family.
He's
because,
got to have. To
yeah,
develop the embouchure, you can't do that. Like, we couldn't play a trumpet now. We don't have the lip strength. Although I might have lip strength for other things.
Yeah, I was about to say you've honed the lip strength over time playing the skin flute.
Hey!
The group here, Nation of Yahweh, is reportedly spread throughout the U.S. and no longer concentrated just in Miami. It claims that its present literature downplays and erased all past racism and the past criminal behavior of its leaders and followers. And in fact, they purchase a lot of infomercials, which I haven't seen, but there's infomercials and there's videos on their site of this weekly half-hour program that they do that combines Bible studies with discussions about the actual nation. Now, this is kind of interesting and somewhat topical to today's politics. The Yahweh Ben Yahweh group appeared in the news in 2012 after Michael the Black Man, whose real name is Morris Woodside, a former member of the group who's now a conservative activist, was invited to speak at a rally for Rick Santorum's presidential campaign. During that, he said the Democrats, who he also calls the Democrats, are akin to Nazis. Since that, obviously Santorum, his campaign fell flat. Woodside has become a vocal supporter of Donald Trump, and he continues to defend Yahweh Ben Yahweh and the nation's beliefs. So you'll see here he is, and people might have seen this at a lot of different Trump rallies. I think this is the one in Arizona. He shows up behind Trump. They strategically place him behind Trump, and he has a sign that says "Blacks for Trump."
Is he the guy that Trump points out and says, like, my African American friend here? He's him.
That's Michael the Black Man. He's a radical fringe activist from Miami, and he's even way more apeshit than Yahweh Ben Yahweh. Batshit. He's crazy. He's batshit crazy. He once belonged to the black supremacist religious cult. He runs a handful of amateur conspiracy websites. He's called Barack Obama the Beast and Hillary Clinton a KKK member. Oprah even says he's the devil.
There's no surprise there.
And even stranger, in 1990, he was charged, but then eventually acquitted with conspiracy to commit 2 murders. But Michael the Black Man loves President Trump. He loves President Trump. Anyway, before he started calling himself Michael the Black Man, he was Morris Woodside, and he was a member of the Yahweh Nation. And he was even a member. I don't know if he was a death angel, but he was definitely a member of the Yahweh Nation, even like when they were turning violent. So he was a member like around when he was like 21 years old, and he followed Yahweh's teachings to a T. Even after the leader allegedly denied his dying cancer-stricken mother medical treatment, instead prescribed her vegetables, nuts, and herbs because they don't believe in medical.
Well, yeah, that's going to keep her alive. Not the chemotherapy, the radiotherapy, or any of that. Just to, just change your diet. That's all you need to do. Bullshit.
So he along with 16 other members of the Nation of Yahweh were arrested by federal agents in 1990, charged with racketeering conspiracy and 14 murders and a firebombing. But he was acquitted, whereas Yahweh ended up serving some time. Ricardo Woodside, Morris's brother, had once been in the cult but left after his mother's death. He testified that his brother had helped beat a man named Aston Green and beheaded that man with a dull machete.
Oh, a dull machete. That's that's you want it to be sharp, don't you? That was always the worst thing about watching the beheading videos, which are the worst. I love gore and I watched them all, but it was always the beheading videos that used to get me because you always think it's going to be like one clean chop, but it never is. It's like 4 or 5 and the person's crying and screaming. But to do it with a dull machete, I think that is just really rude. They could have
Dude,
sharpened that machete.
just the Foley sound of a head being chopped off.
It's very much like a watermelon meets a chicken bone being smashed into the ground with a
Uh,
human
Hey,
crying.
Rambo's weird wanks. He also, the brother, testified against Morris Woodside, Michael the Black Man here, that he had stabbed a Louisiana man named Leonard Dupree in the eye with a stick.
That's
Not a good guy.
suspicious.
Yeah. Woodside, when he was acquitted for the conspiracy to commit murder and the firebombing, he said, you want to know why I wasn't scared? Because Yahweh wasn't scared.
Oh no.
Later years, he changed his name to Morris Simonette, and eventually he became Michael the Black Man, an anti-democrat who preaches the Bible and abhors homosexuality. Fuck. Knew this was going to happen.
Who is it? What is it?
Fucking Amazon, dude.
Oh my god, D has an Amazon delivery. I wonder what it is. That's good time because it's also good time because my cat has now just decided that he might.
That's the worst thing about my fucking building.
What have
is-
you ordered?
No, I ordered Amazon. Like I think I ordered cat food or something.
Oh, so it is cat food for you. Do
Yeah,
they come up? Do they not come up to your flat and drop it
No,
off?
they buzz. The worst part about it is they'll buzz sometimes other people. Like they'll buzz me, but it's
Yeah.
not even, they don't even have anything for me. That's the worst thing about this fucking
Oh,
building.
so he's been trying to find. Yeah, well, they do that everywhere when you live in apartment living. But I thought they would buzz and then come to your door and like chap on your door and be like, I've got a
Well,
few
it
people.
just it sucks that they have to. Yeah, it always happens every time you fucking record too.
Every
They
time
it
I
happened. It happened twice today. 9:30 a.m.
Fuck that. I'd be
Yeah.
I'd be livid at 9:30, man.
Oh, I was, and it wasn't even for me. Like I opened up the door and went down there. I checked and I was like, oh, I didn't even get shit. So this guy just fucking buzzed me at 9:30 a.m. And then now the fucking cunt. You know what probably happened? I bet you it's probably one of the Uber Eats people delivering food and just buzzed the wrong apartment. That happens all the time.
Yeah, or he's just trying to get in
It always
regardless.
happens when I'm live streaming an episode. That's the best time. It's very opportune. So I'm gonna have to edit all of this out, people. Apologies. Later years, Woodside changed his name to Morris Simonette, and then eventually he became Michael the Black Man, an anti-democrat who preaches the Bible and abhors homosexuality. He even has his own radio station called The Boss,
Oh,
104.1 FM. He broadcasts his radical beliefs and his invectives against the Democrats. He really hates Joe Biden, hates Hillary Clinton.
Of
Pretty much.
course. Well, they all do. He probably thinks they're lizards.
Yeah, I'm surprised he's not a QAnon guy, but he went to an Obama campaign speech in 2008 with a group of protesters that kept yelling "Barack, go home," and they had signs that said "Obama endorsed by the KKK." And so now he's got an amazing website too. So I'm going to link to 2 amazing websites, all associated with the Nation of Yahweh. This one is called gods2.com. And if you notice in the pictures where he's standing behind Trump, he's wearing a shirt that says like Trump's not racist or Trump loves black people. It says gods2.com. Anyway, I went to his website and the landing page says Latin, black, and whites must unite. And then
Unless you're Barack Obama, in which case, no, don't
Yeah.
unite with us.
Well, there's links to other sites. One called honestfact.com that
Yeah.
has an article about real KKK slave masters are Cherokee Indians.
Well, they were.
If you knew this, yeah.
They were.
Yeah, they're the hidden Babylonians. There's other links to another article about ISIS and Hillary race war plot to kill all black and white women of America with MS-13.
Is that a type of gun?
No, it's a gang. That gang MS-13.
I don't know, MS. Look, I just live in a tiny little village in like delightful Britain. Like we don't have an MS-13.
It became a buzzword for Republicans. It said that with people coming over the border and immigration, and like Democrats just keep the border open. That's why MS-13 is coming in and killing everybody. I, I, I don't know. I think it's obviously there's a gang called MS-13. I think it's complete hyperbole.
I'm gonna
However,
research it. I'll look into it.
talking point. Yeah, they actually have really cool looking tattoos. Um,
Love it already.
Another article, Yahweh Ben Yahweh taught us to vote Republican and is now vindicated. And then there's a Confederate flag, caption, Cherokee Democratic flag.
How did the
And
Cherokees feel about this?
I don't even know, but I don't understand why he's picking on the Cherokees. I mean, there's a lot of other tribes, but the Cherokees in particular, he claims that they were the real slave masters.
They did have slaves. It's a well-known fact they had slaves, and they were also part of the, the Trail of Tears. They walked it, and they had their slaves walk it with them.
I don't think they had. I don't think they were the only slave masters.
No, I don't think they were either. So I don't know why he's particularly picking on them. And I would like to see like what the Cherokee think about this. They probably
Well,
like he is dumb. He is
former
mental.
President Bill Clinton and Senator John McCain, he said, could be traced back to the Cherokee tribe, and they
Clinton
were all.
and McLean, probably two of the most European names you can get. Yeah, they go back to Indian times.
He says Cherokee Indians are mostly white people. Sir John Hawkins was the
Okay.
first man to go get slaves commissioned by Queen Elizabeth I. He was absolutely a Cherokee Indian, and almost everybody he had were Cherokee Indians. And the Cherokee Indians had money, and they're the only ones able to really afford slaves. And almost all of them were the ones that had slaves, and all the slave states where reservations were located.
What's his point though? Yeah, they had slaves.
He
What?
went on to argue that KKK leader Asa Earl Carter was a Cherokee Indian. And that's why they wore hats that look like tents, because they're indicating that the white like pillowcase hats were teepees, and they're hiding under it.
I don't get what this guy's point is. He's mental.
He's
What's
mental.
going on inside his head?
He's an
Inside his
insane.
little TP head.
He's an insane person. It's unclear whether the White House or Trump's campaign officials were aware of Michael the Black Man's extreme political views. Maybe, I don't know. I'm sure Trump would say, well, there's a lot of good and bad things on both sides of what he has to say. Not sure if he thinks that Trump is a Cherokee Indian.
He
But yeah,
obviously
his website, gods2.com, is hilarious. I definitely recommend checking it out. Now, the aftermath here for Bob Rozier. I'm sure everyone's like, what happened to NFL murderer Bob Rozier?
Rozier.
Well, for his 22-year sentence, he was in prison outside of Florida, and then moved. So he only served about 10 years, and then he was put into the Federal Witness Protection Program, and he was paroled with the new identity of Robert Ramses.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's Egyptian now.
In 1999, he expressed remorse for his crimes, and he rebuilt his life in an intense spiritual and intellectual transformation. He was then living in Cameron Park, California. He owned an auto detailing business in Sacramento, worked in web design, and he was raising 2 kids. February 5th, 1999, though, he was arrested for passing another bad check.
Hey, back.
$66 for car repair.
11 changes. It's
Bounced another check here. And so police then found his true identity. He really wasn't Robert Ramses. He was Robert Rozier. And they discovered a trail of 29 bounce checks, totaling more than $2,000. They charged him with a felony. He was convicted, and under a third strike law, he was sentenced to 25 years to life. So he's
is
still
he-
in prison to this day.
Yeah, is he in Californian prison then, I take it? Yeah.
In California prison to this day. There you go, people. I think now you have a wealth of information to ruin somebody's Super Bowl party. I recommend. I mean, you could just do it. I mean, there's so many different ways you can become disinvited from a Super Bowl party. I recommend just stand in front of the TV singing songs praising Yahweh Ben Yahweh. They will love that. You definitely won't get invited back next year. Just point at everyone, call him a demon-crat. That works. And then, or the main thing is while you're getting guacamole, Let people know the truth that the real KKK slave masters are Cherokee Indians.
That's going to go down very well.
That's going to go down very well.
Works
And
for
there's
Thanksgiving
there's
too.
myriad ways to never have to be invited to your family's Super Bowl party again. Anyway, people, it's episode 830 here of Sick and Wrong. I got some phone calls coming up next, 323-522-4032. But first, here's a word about our Patreon page.
All right, I'll be back 1 second.
Motherfucker. I hate when I have to fucking edit out.
Oh, Dee's going to have a kvetch. Dee's kvetching.
I know, I'm fucking pissed. Bum, 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 bum. Let's see here. How's everybody doing today? My fucking live stream is ruined. I'm mad. Not happy about it. The fuck is this? Oh, the Swedish guy. Getting the calls in order.
Here comes Cat. Say hello, Chicha. Say hello.
Hey, Chiche.
Say hello to the people.
Yeah, fucking that door buzzer. I hate it.
Chi
do
Chi
hate
is part of the cult that, whatever the cult that kills mice is, Chi Chi is part of that.
Death Angel.
Chi Chi is totally a death angel. If you are a small rodent type mammal, like a vole, he also killed a mole once. He will come for you. Chi Chi is collecting ears. He is a little death angel.
Angel of Death. I'm probably gonna have my own Super Bowl party tomorrow.
Oh, thank you, Tim Ted, for saying hello to Chi Chi.
Yeah, I'm
I'm
gonna have
just
my
gonna
own.
have I'm gonna have fuck my friends. I'm gonna have my own Super Bowl party. Right. So this is what I think you should do. I think you should order out, get some like nachos sent over, and like just stuff like that. Food you would never normally order. You should treat yourself to on a Super Bowl.
I'm gonna
And
go
then
get fancy feast for Caliban, and I'm gonna go get like Taco Bell, like spend like $100 at Taco Bell and just have like a assortment of food.
D, you have to do this because Atheist Preacher has been a long-time supporter of this show. He is on the highest tier of Patreon, so you have to do this for him. You have to sing Devil Woman. Just a couple of lines.
By
Now.
Cliff Richard.
By Cliff. You have to just sing a couple of lines.
I can't sing that.
She's just a devil woman. He's looking up the words.
Yeah. I think there's some karaoke of me singing that.
D can't actually read the chat. I'm the only person who can read the chat.
Yeah, I don't have it open right now. I'm on a different computer.
Yeah, so I'm on my phone, so I have to relay the messages back.
Yeah. All right. Oh wow, did you know Marty Robbins covers that song?
Marty Robbins, I love Marty Robbins. I have several of his.
She's just a devil woman with evil on her mind. Beware the devil woman. She's gonna get you from behind. You're gonna get pegged by that devil woman. That's
That's
happened.
what the devil is into. The devil is clearly into pegging.
Well, I think what's the devil woman is gonna strap one on and get you from behind. That's what the song's about. It's about pegging.
It was a more innocent time back then when Cliff Richard was allowed to nonce children. Nowadays he's not, and that's why he lives in the Caribbean.
I like how the end of the song is just that verse, that chorus, just over and over and over again. But I like
does
the
it go
part
into
with
a fade out?
No, I think he just says it and then it ends. My favorite part of the song, though, when he's like, crystal ball on the table. It's the bridge. It's like, crystal ball on the table, showing the future, the past. Same cat with them evil eyes. You better get out of there fast. 'Cause you're about to get pegged.
By the devil woman.
That woman, she's got a strap on and she's going to sodomize you. That's what
Good for her. Good for the devil. Because that is what the devil should do. He's cool, but he's also evil. Or
Yes,
she
sir.
is cool. Also evil. Evil Lynn.
What, Atheist Preacher, are you a fan of that song?
I think he just wanted to hear you sing it at this particular moment in time. But there is karaoke version of you singing it. You've sent me it before.
I might post it somewhere.
We will be doing karaoke when I come over. We will find a karaoke bar somewhere.
I'm trying to think of where. There's got to be.
That fucking bar you hate
Oh, the Star Wars bar.
is karaoke.
I fucking hate that place. I wonder what night they do karaoke.
I can't remember if it was like on a random night, like Tuesday.
There used to be the drawing room. Used to do a kind of a cool karaoke night on Sunday night.
That's a good night for karaoke because that's the saddest night of the
They
week.
did like punk rock karaoke.
Oh, I love it. That would be my scene. I
Yeah,
love doing karaoke. It is his karaoke staple. What other songs do you sing at karaoke? Just Devil Woman? Didn't you sing on a cruise ship?
Reverend Blue Jeans. That's my go-to. You know
I
that
have
song?
a fair few in the roster. I have about 5 that I rotate through.
I do Forever in Blue Jeans, Neil Diamond. I do Out of Touch, Hall & Oates.
You're out of time.
You're out of touch. I'm
out of time.
And you're losing my head when you're not around.
You're
You know?
out of touch. Yeah.
That's
That's a classic, yeah.
And I do Devil Woman. So I only have 3.
So yeah, I have Cool Rider is one of my big ones. If I have to do like a movie themed one, then I always pull out Cool Rider from Grease 2.
I like getting really drunk and doing Bohemian Rhapsody.
You need like, right, I've done Bohemian Rhapsody with friends before, and it's like, okay, you guys are going to do the low bits and we're going to do the high bits, but it all just, by the time it comes, everyone just like starts screaming. It doesn't work.
I'd rather cut my dick off than have to hear that. I would leave if I heard someone singing that.
I have been drunk before, and I have done Meatloaf, Paradise by the Dashboard Life, where I have been both Meatloaf and I've also been the chick. I just like turned to the side for the different parts. Looks like I'm holding a cock. You know what I mean?
Grounds for a divorce.
What, singing Meatloaf? No, you're not British.
Having to endure that. Having to endure you singing any Meatloaf song.
Well, I'm good at singing them. I also used to dress like Meatloaf for some Asian Babes gigs because it's a great outfit.
What do you wear? You mean like, didn't he dress kind of like a Renaissance?
Yeah, I had a white lace shirt and I wore braces with my jeans, and I wore white tube socks with some loafers, and I had a red hanky and just like wore my hair down very straight, and I was Meatloaf. Pardon?
You get a fat suit.
No, I just went as skinny Meatloaf.
Oh, skinny Meatloaf. Yeah, he was kind of a big guy, wasn't he?
Oh my God, I love Roger Miller. If I was to do a Roger Miller song, mine would be "What Are Those Things with Big Black Wings?" I know it's a cover. And I like "Tall, Tall Trees and All the Waters in the Seas." They would be the Roger Miller songs I would do.
What song is that?
"Tall, Tall Trees" by Roger Miller, which is also a cover because it's a George Jones song. But George Jones's version is not as good as Roger Miller. Roger Miller is fucking awesome.
I don't know if I know.
Yeah, like leg braces, like shirt braces, like so you know that you twang and you go wow if you saw a hot chick.
Overkill this week was on Mark Rudowski, right?
Yeah, Mark Gator.
Mark
Gowski. Gnarly dude.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch that documentary on him.
It's really good. I've seen it. I still have it on DVD. I have about 15 DVDs I couldn't part with. I'm obviously gonna have to part with it.
All right, checkity check. Let's get going here. So we got a few phone calls to get to here. 323-522-4032 is the Sick and Wrong hotline number. It's getting hot in the hotline. We do want your calls, though. Building up a backlog. So
Nice.
the more calls we get, the better the show. So give us a call, 323-522-4032. Keep it under 3 minutes. You can also email us, sickaroundpodcast@gmail.com. This first call is from a Swedish gentleman who might or might not be a chef.
Ja, Sikarong in Swedish would be sjuk och fel.
Uk och fel.
You wouldn't say to somebody, you are sjuk och fel. You'd say like, du är sjuk och vrickad. You are sick and twist.
Such an easy language to learn.
Yes, to replicate that lilt is just so easy to do. Svika fel.
Cause fel would just be like, no, you are wrong, you are incorrect, which wouldn't be very, speaking time, language, communication, styling.
Speaking. He reminds me of Van Damme. I don't know why.
This is what you said last time. And let me tell you, Dee, after somebody who has become fully immersed in Jean-Claude, I might as well have shagged Jean-Claude Van Damme in these last 2 weeks. The amount of Jean-Claude Van Damme I have thrown myself into. He sounds nothing like a man from Brussels.
I think he does. I think he sounds like Van Damme's speaking voice. Reminds me. How many times did you wank to Bloodsport?
I've wanked to Bloodsport at least 10 times by now.
Was it the scenes with Bolo Young or was it the Van Damme scenes?
Just the Van Damme scenes. Come on.
Anyway, yes, keeping it short and sweet. Much
Short and
love
sweet,
to the
yeah.
newlyweds. And
Oh, thank you there, Swedish man.
Yeah, lick my balls. Keep it Sikarong. Fortsätt och ha det sjukt och vrickat. Fortsätt med den sjukheten och den vrickade stilen. Peace.
I have no idea what he was saying at
He
the end.
could have been calling me or saying, I'm sure I heard my name. He could have been saying, like, I'm the biggest whore in the whole wide world. And I'd still be like, yeah, this is sexy. Carry on.
I think the Swedish accent's very sexy. I want to know how to say "lick my balls" though in Sweden.
Maybe that's
Yeah.
what he was saying at the end.
Maybe
Yeah,
maybe
lick
that's
my
what it was.
balls. He has some
definitely
great
longer.
stories. Swede too. Swede Van Damme has some great stories.
I do like that guy's calls. I also like this next person's calls. She called in a little while ago, and I'm just I don't know why I've been holding on to this one. Maybe because there's been a lot of like, we've had calls that are relevant to the topics. And then, also like the holidays and all that. Anyway, I finally got around to this. It's a very good call from Z. Remember Z?
Oh, yes, I do. I love Z.
In
Hi, Z.
Dubai.
Hi, Kate. Hi, Z. This is Z. Well, that rhymes. Just listening to this woman that called, and she has borderline personality disorder.
That's become somewhat of a theme here. Christina called in about borderline personality disorder,
Yeah.
BPD. And apparently Z also suffers from that.
Oh, no way.
I've been diagnosed with that, I don't know, years ago. 11 years ago. It's totally under control now. Although, right now I am a little bit on one of my highs, but I've overdone it, so I'm going through a low, but it didn't hit there yet. But
I wonder if you are very aware, like hyper aware of your highs and your lows when you have BPD, and if you warn your significant other. You know how like women when they have PMT?
T. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's different to that. I think when you're kind of undiagnosed and it's uncontrollable, you just act on your emotions. You act on it, and then afterwards you repent. But
I think
when
there
you can control it,
she could recognize. She's like, I'm on one of my highs right now. So I wonder if like, if you have to give your significant other a caveat, like, hey, I'm in the middle of one of my bipolar disorder highs right now, so I might be a bit flighty. might be a bit annoying.
Oh, is that what you call it? A bit flighty.
Yeah.
Hello, darling. Well, as somebody who does suffer from PMT, let me tell you, you know you're suffering. You know that you're cranky and that you may be shouting and you're craving all this food that you usually wouldn't want, but you're gonna let the emotions out, and it damned the results of it. So I think bipolar disorder is that times 50.
I feel the same way about blue balls. You let it know. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, same thing.
Kate, what you mentioned about your mate's mom, that she would go on high for weeks and then lows, that sounds more like bipolar than borderline. Borderline is a little bit more subtle than that.
Okay.
I'm taking medication. I'm doing very well. Although right now I'm drinking whiskey and painting my furniture yellow. Don't ask.
She's doing what? Drinking
She's-
whiskey and painting something?
Yeah, did she say a triolo?
Okay, I didn't get that. Painting a tree aloe or something, don't ask.
Like well, she's painting, and that's always nice. It's nice to get drunk and do creative things.
It's a yellow mask for me.
A yellow mask?
Yeah. Oh my God. First of all, congratulations. Can't believe you got married. It's awesome. I hate married people.
Me too.
Yeah. And yeah, I just wanted to say that. I do have one kind of bad experience on drugs. Not really drugs. It was like cookies. And I had like an entire cookie in half an hour, and I was extremely high and paranoid. And this guy I was dating at that time.
God, I don't think this person should be doing drugs.
A weed cookie, like, especially because like even the edibles, every time I've had an edible, they've just been so like fucking strong.
They're very potent, and I don't know. I mean, they do, like, if you go to, you'll see when you come here and you go to the dispensaries here.
Oh,
they-
that's in my first 2 days plan is I'm going to a dispensary.
I mean, they're all over, but ubiquitous in LA. But there's like, they tell you the potency, like this is how many grams are in it, and this is the THC percentage. But I don't know what that means. Like, my whole thing is like, okay, well, how strong is it? Like, how much of that can I eat before I'm like naked, drooling on the ground? You're like screaming at like the shadow people. Like, at what point is that going to happen? You know, because you do, like, you'll eat like half a cookie and just be fucked for the next like 12 hours.
I just honestly want like a gummy that'll like just give me, you know, when you smoke a bit of weed and you get that really nice feeling and you just feel really nice and buzzed and you just feel lovely. That's all I want. I don't want anything more than that. I don't want it to the point where, because every time I've had an edible, it's always taken me to the point of absolute paranoia where I think, oh shit, is this where it all goes wrong for me?
Well, in my experience, what I've noticed is if you get like the brownies or the cookies, those are really potent. But if you get like the gummies or the suckers, the lollipops, it's like you do those, you just kind of get a nice pleasant buzz.
Maybe I'll try the lollipop.
THC in the lollipops or in the candy, but in the cookies and the brownies, you will be fucked.
But saying that, I had a brownie when I was in Amsterdam. I had it at like 11 in the morning, first thing. And I was like cool off that all day. It was a really great, mellow, pleasant high. And I just walked around Amsterdam. That's the day we got kicked out of Anne Frank, the Anne Frank Museum, because we were laughing. But it was a great day.
Yeah, I don't know. Like Big Jer used to always just kind of cut his cookies up he figured out exactly how much he wanted that would give him the high he needed. And so he would dose himself. He'd just eat like one or two, depending on how fucked up he wanted to get. But first of all, I don't like the high of it. I like smoking it.
Same.
But yeah, I prefer that. But I also, every time I've tried to fuck with an edible, I've just been way too high to have fun.
My problem is that if I'm left alone with the brownie, well, firstly, I can't really eat brownies anyways because I am kind of mildly allergic to eggs. They give me really bad heartburn. But if I'm left alone with a brownie, I can't just eat a square of brownie. I have to eat the whole fucking thing. I can't be left alone with it. I'm a fat kid at heart. I'm gonna eat that whole brownie.
Yeah, I remember there was this one. What did they? I forget what it was, like a muffin. They call my sister would be like, "Oh yeah, we got muffins," but like they would only eat like a little bit of the muffin top,
How?
and it would just crumble off the muffin top and just eat it. And so and it would fuck you up. And I've done that before. I remember I ate half a muffin and I was fucked. I couldn't
I
even.
can't
figure
just eat a
Right.
little bit of muffin. If you put a blueberry muffin in front of me, I'm gonna eat the whole fucking thing. Like, there's no way I can't not eat it.
I was at their house and I was like, "Oh, this is a muffin." And I was like, "I can't remember if this is a weed muffin or a real muffin." So I thinking that would be fine. I was so fucked up. I couldn't even figure out how to take the BART train back to Oakland. But I remember that Christmas, we were going out for Chinese food, and my brother was there, and they had like a full muffin. And I think Wackerly was just like, "Jeffrey, I dare you to eat that." And my brother ate the entire muffin. I ate half and I was fucked. My brother ate the entire muffin, barely even affected him.
I was about to say your brother is very seasoned. He has been not taking drugs since he was 16. Has your brother ever been sober for longer than a week since he was 16?
I was thinking compared to the rest of the drugs in his system, that was probably kind of.
Yeah, he probably like evened it all out a little.
It was like,
He was like,
it barely even affected him. Anyway.
God bless Jeffrey.
He just came to my place. It was like 11:30 or something. He came and I was like having a drink with my roommate and having cookies, and then he went straight to bed. And I found that a little bit weird because we did not live together. He was not even
That
my
is
boyfriend.
weird.
Somebody I'm fucking.
So wait. This is some guy that she's fucking. He comes over and just goes to bed at her place.
Yeah, and doesn't even like hang out with her properly, or he just goes to sleep.
Boner.
Like, what's the
Didn't-
fucking point? I'd be like, what's the point in you coming over? I don't want to see you sleep. I dialed you for your dick, and now
Yeah,
you're asleep in my bed. That's not what I want. Like, dick me or fuck off.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, why would you go over there then?
Yeah.
So when I went to bed because I felt like I was gonna die. I felt like I'm dead, and I was just like a spirit at that point.
She thought
I
she's
went
a
to
spirit.
bed, I was looking at him, staring at him, and I'm at the edge of the bed, and then he woke up. He's like, what's wrong? I said,
What's wrong? She's just sitting there at the edge of the bed staring at me while I'm sleeping. That's when I would have been like, all right, I'm out of here.
I've just been like, you're so
You gotta-
beautiful when you
Be a
sleep.
weird way to wake up. You're sitting here and you got the crazy bipolar person, borderline, who'd just been like all hopped up on a weed cookie.
On the weeds.
Yeah, on the marijuana cookie, just staring at you while you're sleeping. Yeah, I would have got the fuck out of there.
I'm a ghost. I'm a ghost.
do you have a machete under your bed? And he started laughing. He's like, no, I don't have a machete. I'm actually squeamish. And I said, that's exactly what a serial killer would say. So I started looking for machete in my bedroom. I checked under the bed. I checked.
I definitely would have left at this point. While she's running around the room maniacally looking for a machete, I would have just like
Would
slipped
you
on
been
my-
like, I'm gonna go and check the kitchen and the bathroom. See ya.
Yes, and you would have heard my car just driving away.
Well, a Prius can't go. "Rrr."
No, it'd be a really quiet like. Always part two.
Guys, this fucking beeper, it like scares the shit out of me when I'm in the middle of conversation.
Looking for machetes.
So anyway, so this guy, he's like, no, I don't have a machete. I'm squeamish and blah blah blah. I'm pacifist. And I said, well, you say that, but what do you have to prove? Anyway, he could see that I was high. He's like, Dana, you're a little bit high. So it's okay. I'm not going to hurt you. He was actually very sweet. I'm not going to hurt you. Just let it, get out of your system.
Wow, this guy is tolerant. I would like. I've been around. I've had several girlfriends freak out on acid trips and mushrooms, and I've also had people, that girls I didn't know that were hanging out with us that flipped out. Typically, when someone flips out, I just leave because I'm like, I don't want to deal with this.
I always do because it kills my buzz. So I'm always like, you gotta look out. In the words of Eddie and the Hot Rods, you gotta look out for number one. I just get the fuck out of there.
Yeah, I'm just gonna split. Like I remember in college when you're in someone's dorm room and someone starts crying or whatever, it's like, all right, that's my cue to leave.
I am the worst. But when someone starts crying, I am literally the worst person you want there. I don't know what to do with you. What am I? What? You're
Yeah.
crying. I'm not crying. Like, let's just watch Dirty Dancing or something. I just don't know how to deal.
That's when I put a Butthole Surfers record on really loudly.
That's a
And
good
just
way to deal with it.
yeah.
Like, isn't this a great, great band that we can all enjoy
It's a great band to listen to when
while
your head
someone's crying?
tabs of acid. It's always
Said, okay. So it got out of my system, and it was actually kind of nice after I calmed down. The
Did
next
you find the
day,
machete?
There
my
is no
roommate
shade.
him stealing AirPods. And then he was like, oh, fuck this. And that's it. That was the last time I saw him. Poor kid. And
Wait. This poor guy, he goes over to your house.
No, he's
Think-
not a poor guy. He goes up to a house, doesn't fuck her, sleeps, and then he wakes up when she's wrecked, and she's on a different level because she's been staying up, like eating weed edibles and getting really, really wrecked. It's his fault for going to bed and not
Okay.
hanging out with her.
A completely different interpretation of the facts that she presented. This guy goes over to her house. They're just like what, casual, like hooking up every now and then.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm gonna go get my dick sucked. I'm gonna go over there. He goes over there. She's high as a kite, just running around the room looking for a machete, speaking in tongues. He sees her. He's like, I'm gonna take a nap till this wears off, and then I'm gonna get my dick sucked. Meanwhile, he wakes up an hour later with her just staring at him while he's sleeping.
Okay,
asking
maybe
him-
that's creepy.
Yeah, if I was that guy, I would have got the fuck out of there. Instead, he's like, calm down. You're just, these are the effects of marijuana. Let's just like ride through this together and you'll be okay. And then her roommate's like, you took my drugs. Fuck this, dude. Go find
Yeah.
another one. Go find another
You know
side.
what you should always do? This is what and it does work for me. If you're ever in that really bad marijuana stage where you're fucking paranoid, you feel like shit, and everything's out to get you, you have to eat carbohydrates. It's the only thing that will like switch you out of it. Like how if you're in a bad acid high, orange juice stops it. You got to eat some carbs.
I always thought orange juice exacerbate, like kicks it in.
No, I thought it was the opposite.
I might be
I thought it dulled you mellow.
Now, from what I recall is when you're starting to trip and you don't know if it's actually happening or not, drink a thing of orange juice and you'll like within like 10, 15 minutes it'll start going and you'll start.
Ooh.
I-
I would
I
love
feel
it if
like-
people rang in all their bad acid trips that they've had.
Yeah. Or how did you deal with somebody else having a bad acid trip?
That's also even better because I've just walked out the room when it's happened and gone for walks in nature that lasted 5 hours.
I would have been
Fucking
like,
it.
use the bathroom, then climbed out the window and just got in the Prius, took off.
anyway, keep it sick, keep it wrong, and have an awesome day. Bye-bye.
I got to say, Dubai would be a very strange place to be on hallucinogenic drugs.
Yeah, Z, can you teach us how to say sick and wrong in Arabic? That'd be pretty cool.
I think I would be reluctant. I don't like usually doing drugs in other countries.
I'll be honest, Dubai, the Middle East, all very low on my list of places to go to. Maybe one day. But like I like to go to countries where I can get really drunk. So why am I going to go to Dubai where I can't get really drunk? You know
And
what
you
I
can-
mean?
You can make out in public.
I want to make out in public. I want to like do what I want. Like that's why I love Eastern Europe because beer costs 50 pence a pint. You can get absolutely sauced. All the locals are really fucking sauced with you. It's a total party.
Don't you get like in prison? They cut your hand off if you make out in public. Something
Maybe
like
for
that.
certain circumstances they probably do, but I think they're probably lenient towards it. I'm pretty sure that if I set foot in Dubai, they would lock my diamond level pussy up.
I do want to check out Dubai one of these days.
I
I've
think
heard
it's
that.
an abomination of a country.
I've heard a
but I
lot of
would love to
things
see
about
it.
the mall that's there where you can like ski inside of it. Weird like a
It's
friend of
also
mine-
fakes. I would love to see it because it's like a total fake place in the world.
yeah, everything is like fabrication, like simulacrum. It's just really bizarre. And then like dudes are cruising around in like Mercedes SUVs with cheetahs. Like they have cheetahs as
Yes.
pets. and falcons and things like it's. I would like to see it.
But God forbid you show a fucking ankle.
Yep.
Yeah.
Prison. Anyway, people call Sick and Wrong hotline 323-522-4032. Second show this week. Hell of a show. Hell of a show. We do an entire second show, an entire like hour and a half program on Patreon. And we put it out every week, just like we do the main show. And it's a bit saucier. It definitely is a bit saucier. This week we chatted about my brother's recent motorcycle accident. He broke his collarbone and 6 ribs. Very suspicious. Very
Yeah,
suspicious.
that's why I'm laughing. I'm not laughing at Jeffrey getting hurt. I am laughing about what Jeffrey thinks caused the accident.
Yeah, he'll be okay, but it's a very suspicious circumstance. Also, we talk about Kate's upcoming trip to Los Angeles. We will be doing some traveling to go to San Francisco for Ozzy's birthday. Kate's going to meet my entire family and friends. It's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure.
I'm gonna be fine. If anything, I'm gonna alienate them.
It's not going to be difficult. We also talk about JoJo Kelly's experience at the Rainbow last weekend. We were at the Rainbow.
Yes.
Some guy totally just swooped in and took a woman from him. Yeah, this woman who kind of looked a bit like Ringo Starr. So Joe got upset, but it's the principle. This this guy just swooped in. Anyway, go check that out, and that's only $5 a month. You get access to Sick and Wrong second show, and for a few bucks more, you get our Sick and Wrong news segment. This week, we were talking about Super Bowl themed stories. $1,400 is what people are paying for parking spaces around the stadium, Sophie Stadium, where the Super Bowl is going to be. Also, Eminem opened up a Mom's Spaghetti pop-up downtown LA. There was an old-fashioned book burning in Nashville, and apparently Nancy Pelosi has a gazpacho police. They go around testing the temperature of your gazpacho. And if it's not correct, you get arrested. That's how it happens. Also, at the $10 tier, you get access to Sick and Wrong Overkill, Sick and Wrong Minisode. This week, you're talking about Mark Gator Rogowski, the infamous skateboarder.
Yeah, I think I would probably say that he not only pretty much took vert skating into what it is today, he kind of helped invent it. There was moves named after him. He was great.
Yeah, I definitely was one of the innovators. What's the documentary on that guy?
It's called Stoked: The Rise and Fall of Gator.
Rise and Fall of Gator. So go check that out, people. Also, one thing is funny. Some guy pointed this out on Facebook. He said that if we hit our goal on Patreon, I said I was going to digitize my bar mitzvah videotape, which I think it's on like VHS, and I know
Even
I have.
I've never seen it.
I haven't watched it in years. I think my sister has it like in a storage shed or something. But you know what? I'll make a decree, an official decree. I think we had an original goal. If we I don't remember what the goal was. I think we said that if we hit like $2,000, maybe $2,000, maybe it was $2,500, we'd build like a studio.
Well, we're still going to do that because I'm
Studio.
moving over.
Yeah, but I think the official decree is if we hit our original goal, which we've never hit, but we're not that far away from now. I think we're only a few $100s shy of hitting the $2,000 a month. If we hit our original goal, I will digitize my bar mitzvah tape and save it and share it with the patrons. It's going to be a pain in the ass because I got to go get it and pay for it to be digitized, but I will digitize my bar mitzvah tape. It is funny.
I want to see that. I need to see that. I
Oh,
love
yeah.
the patron as well. I say it every week on Overkill, but I do love the patron and I love all the patrons. So thanks for being there, guys. The only reason the show keeps going on is because of those.
Yeah, well, we do appreciate the support. You keep the show going. Patreon.com/sick and wrong. Sign up today. There's a lot of content there. Also, if you want to buy some Sick and Wrong merch, you can go to the TeePublic store. Just go to sickandwrongpodcast.com/shop. Click on the picture of the Pope, and there's all sorts, a whole variety of Sick and Wrong merch. to
There's
choose.
also a sale going on.
I'm sure there is.
There is actually a sale. I sent the link to somebody today and it was like there's a 33% off sale.
Oh wow, yeah, God, tons of sales.
Yeah.
Sick and Wrong song of the week here. So Betty Davis, who some people might know her, some people might recognize that name. She was like I think one of the most famous female funk performers from the 70s.
Queen of Funk.
Yeah, Queen of Funk. She died just on February 9th. Apparently, she succumbed to a battle with cancer. She was 77 years old. By the end of the 70s, so she had lived what a crazy life this woman had. I think at one point she was living in London, doing music. She was a fashion model. She was married to Miles Davis. She dated Jimi Hendrix. And then by the end of the 70s, she stopped performing music, moved back to Homestead, Pennsylvania, where she it was a town right outside of Pittsburgh, and lived there till she died just this past February. Or
I
February
know
9th.
her mainly through her fashion stuff. Like, if people don't know her, all her fashion work is fucking amazing. Like, that's how I first knew her before I even knew that she
Beautiful,
literally.
yeah, beautiful woman. She was a model in the 60s, and that's where she met Miles Davis, who was like 20 years older than her. And she began dating him in like 1968. But what's interesting about that is she introduced Miles Davis, and he's credited for this. She introduced him to Jimi Hendrix and Sly Stone, who she was friends with at the time. And so people say that it was through these introductions is what led to like Miles Davis to start making the like funkier records, that he did
Yeah.
later on. And just kind of expand his horizons a bit. The Miles Davis album Phyllis de Kilimanjaro features a photo portrait of Betty on the cover, and he even named a song after her. He said that she was too young and too wild, and he accused her of having an affair with Jimi Hendrix, which hastened the end of their marriage.
I love
She
it.
denied the affair, and she said, I was so angry with Miles when he wrote that. It was disrespectful to both Jimmy and me. Miles and I broke up because of his violent temper.
Miles is very tempestuous. I can totally agree with that. But come on, you're fucking Jimi Hendrix. If Jimi Hendrix is in the room, you're shagging him. He was gorgeous.
After accusing her of adultery, he filed for divorce in 1969. And he said, this is what Miles Davis said, I'm just not the kind of cat to be married.
I agree with that because you're a bit of a prick, Miles.
Now, Jimi Hendrix and Miles still remain close, and they even plan to record until Hendrix's death. But people say, the influence of Hendrix and Sly Stone led to his album Bitches Brew, which is a great, great record. Came out in 1970. They say that's what ushered in the era of jazz fusion. He wanted to call it Witches Brew, but Betty said he should call it Bitches Brew.
Bitches Brew. It's way better. Gotta have a chick one.
Kind of surprisingly, she actually ended up marrying briefly. She didn't marry him, but she dated musician Eric Clapton.
Ew.
Yeah. She refused to collaborate with him, though.
Good. I bet she was just like, this is my guilty little secret. I'm just going to have a bit of Eric on. He's really tall. He's got good drugs. This is just my guilty secret.
In 1975, she was romantically involved with Robert Palmer,
who's very sexy. And I love Robert Palmer, also a friend of my dad's.
And he helped her secure a deal with Island Records, where she released her album Nasty Gal, which is a great Betty Davis record. She died just this past February at her home in Homestead, Pennsylvania from cancer at the age of 77. So we're going to end the show here with Betty White's Betty White.
Betty White.
Yeah. Betty Davis's anti-love song for Valentine's Day. So rest in peace, Betty Davis. People will be back next week with episode 831. Till then, take it sleazy. I don't know if that corrected to Betty White. That was weird. It's a great song, though. Anti-love song.
She's cool. Next week is my birthday.
Yeah. It's
stream.
Kate's birthday week.
Yeah, so maybe we'll do a little thing and advertise it and say, let's all be up.
That'll be up. Oh, if we live stream?
Yeah, we'll live stream next week. Is my birthday show. We can knock back some beers and shit. Although not beers for me. Wine.
Oh, yeah, you're not
No
drinking.
beers for me. I'm not. I'm still drinking. I'm just not drinking beers. I'm not eating crisps, and I'm not eating refined sugar. Yeah, because when I come to America, I plan to gorge myself.
Like a true American?
Like a true American, I'm gonna gorge myself. So I'm trying to drop pounds, so that when I come over, I can really enjoy myself food wise.
You'll be on vacation. That's what you do.
That's
on
what I
vacation.
mean. Before you go on vacation, you go on a mad crash diet, don't you? That's basically what I'm doing.
So no booze. So wait, you're not drinking like vodka or whiskey?
I actually haven't drank whiskey since when did you leave? November.
Yeah. Wow. No whiskey since November.
Because I'd been pounding hard liquor for such a long time. I'd say over a year. Over a year, there would be at least like 2 days a week. And I was drinking whiskey after I finished work, and I was like, I just need to cut it out. Sometimes you got to cut it out to prove to yourself to be like, I'm not like my drunk dad. So I've cut whiskey out. But when I come to LA, I'll be fucking drinking whiskey.
I haven't
Yeah.
drank whiskey today.
Yeah, yes, Tim. I am gonna need 2 seats to go back. That is my plan. I'm trying to drop pounds so that because American portions, I've also been told by so many people that American portions aren't like British portions.
No,
So
it's
I'm,
insane. Like if you ever go to a cheesecake factory, it's like who the fuck is eating this much food?
so I am kind of scared just by like the amount of food that's gonna be.
It's a lot of food. Yeah.
But I want to enjoy myself too. It's what you do before you
I'm
go
going to
home.
Las Vegas. There's like buffets in Las Vegas.
Yeah, and I am a fat kid at heart. I just like I can't say no to food. If it's in front of me, I eat it. I can't
Get
say no.
like you know what you should do, just like most Americans, they get you know how like horses have those like food bags on their mouth?
Wear me like a food
Just that's
bag.
what you need. Just get one of those like feeding bags and just put in your food and just
See, I
eat.
can't eat food like that. I'm not like I am a picky eater, but when I have food I like if you put a plate of fries in front of me, I would eat the whole thing and not stop until it was all eaten.
Well, we do that for the Super Bowl. Are people watching or do people even on this live stream care about the Super Bowl?
Yeah, AP, are you watching the Super Bowl? He doesn't seem like the type of dude to watch the Super Bowl, but you never
Maybe.
know.
I enjoy the Super Bowl is a good time. I do kind of want to watch it, especially when it's a good game. It's rarely a good game though.
People
But-
watch for the halftime show, unless
In
Maroon
the
5.
people-
Look at my cat.
Yes.
He just wants
People like the commercials too. That's another thing.
biting me.
Oh, look at Chi-Chi's going crazy.
His big
And they always, but I mean, you can usually see like the wait till the next day and get the best of the commercials. You don't have to sit.
That's what I do. But you might want a nip slip. Well, actually, who's gonna nip slip? Dr. Dre.
No, Mary J.
Eminem.
Blige, maybe.
Oh yeah, you really want to see Mary J. Blige's nips.
It's so weird. Like, why not have like? I'm trying to think of. Are there what other West Coast rapper chicks are there?
West Coast, I couldn't tell you. Obviously, we're East Coast.
Like Lil Kim is East
No.
Coast. I wonder
Yeah,
where like.
yeah.
is
Little
TLC
Kim. Oh my God, Little Kim nowadays. What has she done? What has she
Oh,
done?
she looks like a monster.
I know.
Where's TLC from? Where are they from? Are they West Coast?
I've always wanted. Oh my God. Maybe we should do Lisa Left Eye Lopez for my birthday show.
I don't know. She's a bit mental. She like burn her.
You know, like so there's that great documentary actually. It is on YouTube about Lisa Left Eye. So is she in Puerto Rico or somewhere? That's where her family originally from. And about a week before she died, she was having loads of premonition dreams, and so was her mother, about her being in a car wreck. And then a week later, guess what? She's in a fucking car wreck and she dies. And
What
they were
happened to
having all these dreams.
How'd she lose the eye?
She never lost her ID.
What? I thought that's why they called her Left Eye. Did she wear like an eye patch?
Because she wore a condom underneath her eye to promote sex. The first 2 TLC albums are fucking amazing. I do love Crazy Sexy Love as well. That's their third one. That's really good. But the first 2, there's never been albums like that. They changed music, TLC. For women, they did. I'm getting on my high horse here. Me on my high horse talking about TLC.
TLC changed
They did.
Miles Davis. Who cares about that guy?
TLC changed music for women in a totally different way. And they did, especially like pop music. They're kind of like the bad girl Ronettes of the modern era. They're
Did
good. Pardon?
Britney changed music?
No, Britney's totally different to TLC.
What
TLC
about-
was singing about fucking shagging.
Taylor Swift changed music.
She didn't sing about shagging either.
She does if you read between the lines. It's all metaphor.
Tim Ted says, Tim Ted is on the Discord too. He's a cool guy. He says, we don't watch, we just make the snacks. We watch a movie. I'm always surprised that D watches Super Bowl. Back country, sorry. A Hunter S. Thompson quote says, "I don't care about the Super Bowl parties. Any excuse to get lit with my friends." That's you. That's why D goes to the parties.
Well, because the food is good in the booze.
I don't know. I thought you didn't like that type of food where it's all like deep fried bait. It's a beige buffet, isn't it? Like,
No,
what's the Super Bowl food apart from the dip?
no, it's like nachos, 7-layer bean dip, and then depending on what you have, it's like popcorn and chips and salsa and like all the Cheetos,
Beige.
Fritos, and all that stuff. It's good. It's like stuff I'd normally not eat. And then I'm sure I'm missing out. There's like other staples people have at Super Bowls.
I think to me it seems to be like a chickeny thing. Like people are gonna make chicken wings.
Oh yeah, definitely chicken wings. That's a big thing. I wouldn't eat that, but yeah, people definitely like chicken wings.
Like what's even a football-y movie that you would watch? Like there's
Longest
Kingpin.
Yard.
Who's in The Longest Yard? I don't think I've ever seen that.
It's like Burt Reynolds, and they're in prison, and the prisoners play the screws. They play the guards in football.
That was just his death anniversary date. You know he's a wanker.
Burt Reynolds? Yeah, I've heard about that.
Yeah.
Did you ever see what was it the footage on? It was Jay Leno's Tonight Show where he like pours his drink on this other dude, and they get into it.
Yeah,
Like,
because he's being a wanker, and the guy calls him out on being a wanker, and he says to him, "Why do you get enjoyment out of hitting your wives?" And Bert is just a bit like, at that point.
Burt gets all butthurt. Yeah, no, that was pretty funny. Anyway, people, we gotta split. Enjoy the Super Bowl. See what happens. See who wins.
We'll be
If
back next week at a better time for my birthday.
If I was a betting man, I would put my money on the